Yep. Okay. So where do we stare at?
Oh, you look at me. Just look
Okay.
at me.
All right.
Yeah. You have beautiful eyes, beautiful face.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. You're very sweet. So today I'm so excited. I have Megha Nissankararao. Am I saying that correctly,
Yes.
Megha?
Yeah.
So I am so excited to have you on as a guest.
you.
You're just a young, brilliant young woman, only a sophomore in high school, and has been following me. So just wanted to reach out to you and ask you to be on my show. And you go to East Lyme High School. You're involved in a couple of clubs, throwing and Red Cross. And just early in your academics, are you taking the AP classes yet, or is that later on in your career?
Later on, yeah.
Okay. And interested in science and medicine, or?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
medicine. Okay, and your dad's IT, and you already have some things kind of lined up. And you just got back from the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
That's an amazing place. I just met a woman yesterday who's from the Dominican Republic, and she was telling me all about it. Can you tell me about your experience down there?
Yeah, so we just really we went to a resort and we just had some time and it just relaxed. We went to a couple beaches and got really tan.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
So beautiful area, beautiful, and you just really enjoyed the experience and
Yeah.
got to spend some time on the beach and relax. And what was it like with COVID? Apparently it's fairly safe down there from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, like we had to wear masks the whole time. Like we didn't really take them off unless like we had to drink water or something like that. Like it's mandatory there to like wear a mask at all times, and we had to like stay a couple feet distance. We also were like kind of apart from everybody else. We kind of just like wanted to relax and wind down.
You and your family, yeah, your mom and dad, and then do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have a little sister.
Oh, nice, very sweet. So tell me, like you said you're part of the Red Cross Club. That's one of the things that you just got started. And I just think that's so important. I just gave blood on Monday, I believe it was, just a couple of days ago. And they said that there's a critical shortage for blood not in Connecticut, but because of the tornado in Kentucky and what happened down there where so many people were devastated. So a lot of the blood that people are donating is getting shipped to other places. And also because of all the domestic and gun violence that's going on, the shootings and people dying as a result of that. So that's really tapping the system for people needing that. So I really think that work is so important. And along that same line, the demographics for people who give are not good. It's older people, and we don't have, and it's more typically female that give, according to what this woman was telling me, because she's doing this every day. So I think your work of promoting for the Red Cross is really important. Does that speak to you at all for why you're doing this?
Yeah, definitely. I started the Red Cross Club actually with a friend, Nikita is her name. She's a junior. We definitely wanted to help serve our community and find ways to like help students in our high school kind of have like connection with the Red Cross. So we have like a couple activities that we're planning and working on to hopefully help, raise blood and raise money so they can hopefully use some of those materials and help the people that are in need. But we just started this year, so it's going to be like a slow progress, and hopefully our goal is to really make an impact and help them. So.
I like that. I really like that, and I like how you're getting involved because the Red Cross has been around for such a long period of time and has impacted the lives, and is always there to rescue people and to make sure people are safe. And your desire to understand more about science and medicine is really going to play well into this as something down the road as you develop in your academics and your career.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so you do shot put. You're on the track team.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I also just joined that this year. Just trying to understand how things work, how to actually, improve.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot, but it's fun.
Okay, so who is the coach for that now?
I think Coach Right Guard.
Okay, because he was coaching when my kids were at school in East Lyme, so he's been there for a long time, and he's just really a great guy, so does an amazing thing. So getting out there, I think, having a well-rounded kind of academic, and then also the social, the extracurriculars, the co-curriculars, the clubs that you get involved with. Those are the things that are really important. Yeah. Now, how is it going in East Lyme? Like, we were in not lockdown, but it felt like lockdown, right? Where the kids were remote or hybrid last year. What did you choose to do? How did you experience your academics last year?
So last year I was mainly a virtual.
Okay.
At the beginning of the year I was like in person, but I switched.
Well, it was
around.
March, right, when
Yeah.
everything got shifted. Okay.
Yeah, and well, 8th grade, yeah. So 8th grade we all had to be virtual, but then 9th grade, beginning in person. Then they switched. So mainly I was on Zoom. So it's very different compared to being in person. Like I like in person so much more because I feel like I learn a lot more better when I'm with the teachers and with classmates.
Well, you can check in with them. They can check in with you. There's kind of this immediate feedback loop that goes on, whereas with Zoom, that's a big screen. So how many kids are in your class? Like maybe 20 for a lot of your classes?
Yeah, around that, yeah.
Yeah, so then the teacher would have to check, or you'd have to flag, or how did that work?
Like on Zoom, like I think there were like cohorts. So like cohort A, cohort B. So a couple people would be like in Zoom cohort A, and then cohort B would be outside.
Okay.
And that kind of lasted for a couple of months. But at the end of the year in May, like everybody was in person, and there's only very few virtuals on Zoom. So it was like a very like weird kind of balance, because like you'd have like 20 kids on Zoom, maybe like not one on Zoom, sorry. 20 kids like in school, and then one person on Zoom.
Oh.
So it was really awkward, because like a person on Zoom couldn't like have direct communication with the teacher as the 20 kids in person would have. So, yeah.
Well, we're kind of experiencing that a little bit on the Board of Ed, because we have one board member who Zooms in, and so she's remote a lot of the time because she likes to travel. So and just the connection isn't quite the same as it would be. You don't get to walk in and out together, or just have those little sidebar conversations that you might have otherwise, right? I think those things are just so important.
Yeah.
Now, some people I heard actually did better during COVID with their remote learning. Have you heard of that at all, or do you know of that? What is your opinion?
I actually have friends that feel the same. Like it was being on Zoom was a lot more relaxed than being in person. Like it was very like you could be in your pajamas and nobody would know.
Right.
And I get that environment. Like some people like the type of environment, being alone and learning on Zoom. But yeah, I mean for me it was a little opposite. But I get it. Yeah.
So do you think there's any residual effects for your learning or for your social emotional welfare? How are you feeling now?
I'm a lot better. Like I think at the beginning of the year it was like really tough, because like I was so used to just like being quiet and being on Zoom and not really talking much. But after a couple of days, I just got, and weeks more of like, I got more like adapted to the environment and started to feel a lot more like a classroom and a lot better.
Good.
Yeah.
And are you noticing that with a lot of other kids too? Or are you hearing similar things? What are you hearing? You're right in the thick of things, so I'm just gonna find out as much as I can.
Yeah. I think some people were the same and some people weren't. Like, there's a lot of people that I know that were in person the whole time, then virtual the whole time. So it's just been all scattered around about experiences. So, yeah.
All right, so it just depends, right? And I kind of thought that one of the outcomes for COVID might be that we wouldn't be so, I guess, rigid. I feel like schools were, 300 years old in our country kind of thing. And so we're doing things kind of the same way things were done a long time ago with, read and then recite and then, ask questions and then give the answers back. I thought that there might be a little bit more flexibility with how we do the whole learning process. But I don't really think we learned very much from COVID. Do you think we have?
Well, I think like teaching style and like how we learn has just changed maybe a little bit due to technology. Like we used to like, I'm sure like a couple of 100 years ago we read from books and textbooks and learned from that. Now we have laptops we bring to school and a lot of it is a lot more digital. I feel like COVID just, it mainly focused on the technology aspect a lot more.
Okay.
I think, yeah, that's mainly it.
Okay.
And maybe just like change the way like how we focused on information or like learn from it a bit more.
Okay.
Like I feel like it was maybe easier when you were on Zoom to learn things because you had a lot more resources around you.
Right.
But in the school building, you only have like a little less than that.
So we deployed laptops or Chromebooks or iPads or some device for every student in East Lyme. And so everybody had something. What did you get?
I got a laptop, a Dell laptop.
Okay, so you have a laptop, and that laptop is something that goes back and forth with you to school every day? Okay, so you still have that laptop, and on that I imagine that you have a lot of information stored and then resources, links to other places.
Yeah.
Right. Because my opinion is to some extent that we're going to start to evolve as an educational system. This is just my opinion, and I don't know, but I'm an educator, and that's kind of what my wheelhouse was for a number of years. So my opinion is that we're going to start to learn how to access information and not learning and storing so many facts and figures and things like that. Just like when I asked you, like, how often can you donate blood? And you were like, I'm not sure. So I just real quick looked it up. Every 56 days you can, just as a for instance, because I know I donated, so then when can I go and donate again is my thing. So do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. It makes sense. Yeah.
So it's not just so much knowing what you know, but knowing how to get the information that you need to have to be able to function to move ahead.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like thinking about it now, I understand what you're saying because if I ever have a question, I always just search it up. I don't always like have it in the back of my head.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that back then that wasn't a possibility.
Right.
So,
Right. But I still think that recitation is important. That memorization is important. We learned the Pledge of Allegiance. There's a lot of things that you learn as far as your family history and culture, like. Who's mom and dad, who are their parents, what is their name, and it all kind of, so there is a lot of memorization, but it has to be highly motivating, right? Yeah. So I think history is really important like that. Like your family where is your family from originally?
India.
Nice.
So my parents came from India. They immigrated to the U.S.
Yes.
And we've been living here ever since.
Nice. Okay. So have you been to India to visit your families, like back a couple of generations? Have you been given that opportunity?
Yeah. A couple of years ago, I think like in 2016, we went and I met like my mom's side of the family.
Nice.
And then my dad's. So it was nice.
Nice. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah. So then that just makes it all so much more relevant for you, and it just gives you a better understanding of who your parents are and knowing their parents and their siblings, right? Yeah. So that's really an amazing thing, because I know for me, like my family was Irish, so for me to go to Ireland and to see where my great-grandfather, there's two towns in, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the town, Westford, I think it was the name of the town that he left out of. And there's two ports there, so just imagining when I was walking down the city streets that my great-grandfather had lived and left that town when he was 16 years old to come to the United States, and kind of what his journey was and his experience and all of that. So it just is very telling for who you are, because a generation, there's only like 25, 30 years, right? So every 20 years, it's good to kind of dig back and understand your roots and who you are, because I think it plays really important into who you are.
Yeah. That's why. It's why we always try to like go back to India every couple of years, or like once or twice, just to like at least have a connection and like have like some roots there too. So.
Absolutely, and I'm sure they just love to see you and meet you. And what is it like when you go back? I've never been to India.
Well. Well, typically we just like get off from the airport, and usually we have someone like pick us up, and usually I'd stay like at my uncle's house or like some like relative's house for a couple of days, and then we go to a couple of like areas where like we wanted to see, and we'd probably have that planned out a couple weeks before.
Of course.
Like typically we go to temples. We just see like the gods there, and we just like kind of just relax and just enjoy the view and the nature there.
Nice.
Because that's not something that we can find in the U.S.
Right.
As much, because the climate's different and all.
It's hot.
Yeah, very hot.
Very hot, right.
Yeah.
I've been to China a few times. Both of my kids were living there at different points in time. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. My daughter lived in Shanghai, and she worked for the Shanghai Daily, which is a newspaper for expats, and it's actually Australia owned. So that was interesting. And then my son was in China, and then he lived in Beijing, and then we traveled all over China to see, and the food is different, the culture is different, the people, everything, but you marry into that when you live in that, or visit even, because we were there for 3 weeks at a time, so you just kind of embrace it. And
yeah, you get used to it. Yeah.
You do, but hot, oh my goodness. I remember like 80, 90, over 100, like at 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
I was like, this is really something. So it's an experience, though. Have you been to the Taj Mahal?
No, unfortunately I haven't. I want to go.
Yes.
Maybe next time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
My dad went, though, a couple of years ago.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's supposed to be just so amazingly beautiful. So when we went to China, though, the temples were all so interesting, and the great big huge Buddhas, right? They're just giant, like as big as this room kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's very beautiful. Like there's so many intricate like designs and all. It's very, very beautiful. Yeah.
And the music is Indian music, I think is, I think of it as different, but of course that's, the difference between, my culture of origin and your culture of origin, but learning to appreciate that and then respect that, because it's different tones and it feels like different beats to me. Yeah. How does it, tell me about it.
Well, like there's like classical, and then there's like, like American music, there's also pop. So for me, it's just like, it feels very similar because I'm very used to it.
Yes.
But I understand, like from a different perspective, it'd be a little different. But
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. It's just like I have to tune my ear almost, or it's just like I have to
adjust a little bit.
And exactly.
Then,
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, because it's just it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very nice to dance to sometimes, depending on the type.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like there's some genres that a lot of people tend to like dance to, or like there's like Bollywood, and there's like classical, and there's like classical dance which aligns with that classical music, and then there's like pop and all that stuff. You can also just dance to at parties. So yeah. Believe it or not, it's a little similar to American when it comes to like the pop side.
Okay.
But I think the classical is like the main origin of it too. So.
Interesting. Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah. So your dad is IT, you told me. So that's really interesting, in information technology. And where does he work?
He works at Travelers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's really helpful, I'm sure, when you were going through all this educational remote learning, and knows how for you to access the information that you need to get, and will make it so it's easier and better for you.
Yeah, I'm not bad at it, just not as good. So it's great for my dad always just helps me out with like the little things, which is good.
Yeah. Well, and it's almost sometimes that discovery too. I think that trial and error is just so important, that you just allow yourself to not know something for a while.
And then just learn it.
Exactly.
And it just sticks in better.
Yeah. So what's your favorite class in school right now?
I mean, I like all of them in some shape or form. Like, I prefer like my math and science classes is more.
Okay. And what do you studied in math?
Well, in math, we're just more learning about like equations and there's
algebra.
Yeah.
I loved algebra. Do you like algebra?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And I always thought solving those problems was just so much fun. And if I got the answer right, I was just like, wow, this is just like kind of deduction. And then once you get your basic math facts,
it gets easier.
Yeah. Well, you have to have those, right? Yeah, absolutely. And I used to work with somebody, and she said, life is a story problem. You don't call them story problems anymore, right? You call them word problems. Mm-hmm. So life is a word problem. Do you know what she meant by that?
Well, I guess life is kind of like something that it can be difficult at times, and it's hard to like understand and wrap around. It takes time to crack it and understand it. So it's...
Well, I think what she meant by it was like, everything that you do, like I have to be someplace at noon, right? So you have a 12 o'clock appointment. So then you figure like, how am I going to get there? How far will I have to drive? So like everything needs to be factored in, like, and so then you think, okay, so that's like how many minutes, and like how long am I going to be there? And so like everything is kind of like measured and kind of equated into like a solution for how long, when, and management of that. And the same with money, and the same with like if you go to a grocery store, how much money do I have to spend? What meals am I going to make? So those kinds of things. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, interesting though. I thought that was an interesting thing that she used to say. Now tell me a little bit about some of the foods that you like to eat.
Well, I mainly consume American, but I also consume Indian food. Mm-hmm. Like, I think everyone likes this, but like pizza and sandwiches, at least for pizza, sandwiches, anything like related to pasta I really like.
Do you? Yeah.
It's my main favorite.
Now, do you make a dumpling? Is that part of your culture at all? No, you don't do that. Okay, because I know like Chinese, they have really good dumplings, and pierogies are like a Polish kind of dumpling, and those are really delicious. Yeah.
For us, like we have like specific like curries and like rices that go with it. Mainly like I consume like, there's this dish called like dosa. It's like a South Indian dish.
It's hot.
It's like a crepe.
Spicy,
actually.
Right?
Yeah.
A crepe?
It's like
crepes are yummy. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like a very like savory crepe, and you have it with a curry next to it. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Does your mom make these things? And do you know how to make these things?
Not yet. Hopefully someday. But my mom makes most of the Indian dishes.
Does she? Yeah. Oh, wow. I would love to learn how to do that sometime. So, yeah. Those are just amazing things. And I love cooking. Whenever my family and I travel, we try to take cooking classes wherever we go. You're not doing any of the culinary things. You're too busy with the math and sciences, huh?
Not yet. I want to like maybe take culinary like senior year or something like that. Okay. But I do cook at home like for fun sometimes.
Oh, do you? Okay. Yeah. So anyway, whenever we travel, like we went to Thailand a couple of years ago when the world was opened up and we could travel and we felt safe doing it. And my family and I took classes where we got to make different soups, and the thing that was really fun too was that we went shopping first of all, and the woman who took us shopping said, if you see anything and if you can't recognize it, take a picture of it and then bring it to me. So that's what we did. We took pictures of things, and I was like, what's this? And we got to see them making bacon, slicing, the side of the pig to make the bacon. So it's just such an amazing experience. I think travel just opens up your mind and helps you to understand like different perspectives. And you see people just like walking up the side of these mountains collecting the mushrooms. Yeah. And you've seen things like that, right?
Not like I haven't been to Thailand before, but
no. I mean, like, and that was actually in China that I saw somebody, walking up the sides of mountains, and like if I see a mushroom, I'm like, is it a toadstool? Is it mushroom? Is it poisonous? Is it safe? Like I can't identify it, so I kind of leave it alone because it's not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, like definitely when we were in the Dominican Republic, like we saw things that we weren't used to.
Exactly.
Like different foods, different like places and areas. And like, I don't know what that is, but it's cool, but I'm just going to see what that is, and then if I don't like it, I'm not going to touch it.
So you tasted it? Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Well, when my family and I went to China, we were the only Occidentals in this restaurant. So everybody, and we were eating hot pot. Do you know what hot pot is? They have boiling oil in a pot, and it's in the middle of the table, and you sit in a circular table or a big, huge table, and then you put things in, and then you take them out, and then you eat them, kind of thing. But we were the only people that didn't look Chinese or Asian in this restaurant. So everybody was staring at us and kind of laughing at us, too, because we didn't really know how to do it. But I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of an interesting experience to be on the other side of not being, you know, like the person who was from there kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, for us, like, there was this one time when we were, like, having this meal. I think it was, like, I don't remember the name, but we weren't sure about how to, like eat it or consume it. And we had to have somebody come over and like teach us. This is how you eat it.
Because you don't know. Like even the first time I held chopsticks, I, you know, had to have somebody help me. Right? Yeah. So it's always fun though. Yeah.
You're figuring it out.
You have to. You have to figure it out. And I think when you, like I said, when you go to another country, my brother is a big traveler, and every time he travels, he tries to learn as much of the language as he possibly can. He wants to go to Japan, I think in May or June, something like that. So I just sent him a book, learning Japanese and some of the basics and the fundamentals, because when you get there, people are so happy, right, when you can speak some of the language. Now, what language do you speak besides English?
I speak Telugu. Well, not fluently, but I understand most of it.
Okay.
That's like one of Indian languages. My parents speak it fluently.
Telugu is that a dialect or is it
yeah, Telugu is like more of like it's like a whole language.
Okay.
So
how do you spell that? Telugu.
T-E-L. I think it's
Telugu.
Yes. And then the O is a U.
Oh, is a U. Okay. So I'm going to look that up. That sounds really interesting. So you speak that. So how would I say, hi, how are you? Something like that, or a greeting. How would you greet somebody?
Well, typically, like this is like the same for all languages, but you'd say namaste.
Oh, namaste, of course. Like the spirit that's the God that's within you is within me, right? Something to that.
You just like it's just a greeting that you would give to anybody.
Namaste. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you'd say like, I mean, I would say like. Naperu, my name is, and then it's in my name.
Okay. Napede?
Naperu.
Naperu.
Yeah.
Okay. So Naperu Megha, Naperu Cate.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
It's all like, sometimes like the slang would be different depending on where you are though.
Okay.
Like I mainly like, I can understand it more than speak it.
Okay.
Like my parents speak it fluently and I'm able to translate that. Uh-huh. But for me, it's a little harder to speak it than understand it. Yeah.
Do you find that your tongue kind of gets twisted?
Yes, a lot, yeah.
I find that too, exactly.
I'm
like,
hard,
getting my tongue wrapped around these different syllables and phonemes is what they're called, those little expressions of communication. Mm-hmm. They're consonants and vowels if you're writing them, but phonemes when you're speaking them. So, so that's interesting. So, Telugu, I want to look that up. And does your mom teach other people how to speak Telugu?
No. It's just more of like a thing that like I caught up while they were like speaking, like when they would ever speak this language, I would just listen to it and slowly got adapted to it.
Oh, interesting. So. And they thought they were keeping it all secret, but you broke the code.
Yeah, kinda.
Well, good for you. Well, Megha, it's just so nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Oh my gosh, sparkly, bright eyes and a bright future ahead of you. I can't wait to have you back on the show like 10 years from now and find out what you're doing and what amazing things you've accomplished. And good luck with the Red Cross, and let me know how I can support you, okay?
All right.
Yeah, because, you know, I'm on the Board of Education, and we like to know all the great things that our kids are doing, so I really appreciate all of that. Mm-hmm. And namaste.
Namaste, yeah.